Things went well for Modupe thereafter until 10 years into their marriage, and Modupe was yet to conceive. Over the years, Modupe tried her best to conceive by taking various herbs and medicines known to aid women in conception. But despite the different types and quantities she consumed, none worked. Her mother also visited a few herbal doctors and juju doctors on her behalf, but the issue remained the same. Now, Modupe's mother knew that the medicine woman at the cave was more powerful than any other herbalist or juju doctor she had been visiting. However, because of the trick she had played on the medicine woman in the past during Modupe's unfortunate pregnancy circumstance, she was too ashamed and was scared to seek for the medicine woman's help again. The former king had been alive all this while, so Prince Adeshola had been patient with his wife during the early years of their marriage when she was unable to bear him a child. But as the years progressed, he began to put more pressure on her, and in the 10th year of their marriage, when his father, the king, passed away, the pressure became more intense. Prince Adeshola, as the crown prince, should have been crowned king immediately after his father's death. However, since he had no child by that time, the kingmakers were considering crowning his younger brother, Prince Adedeji, whose wife had already bore him a son. However, Prince Adeshola was given a period of 2 years to produce an heir or lose the throne to his younger brother, as their tradition allowed an additional period of 2 years. It was at this time that Modupe's mother realized that she had no choice but to seek the help of the medicine woman at the cave, especially after Modupe informed her of the increasingly intense situation. Once again, she lied to the medicine woman, claiming that she was bringing the baby Modupe had delivered years ago, but that the baby had died on their way, forcing them to bury it. The medicine woman smiled but said nothing. Her smile indicated that she knew that Modupe's mother was lying, but she chose to remain silent about it still. Modupe's mother then explained Modupe's inability to conceive since that time. As usual, the medicine woman made some incantations when presented with the problem. When she was done, she asked Modupe's mother if Modupe's mother had correctly administered the substance that she gave to them that was meant to restore Modupe's virginity. And that was when Modupe's mother admitted that she had given Modupe the entire dose all at once, hoping to ensure that the medicine worked faster. Well, your daughter will never conceive again because you administered the substance incorrectly, instead of having her take it over a period of 7 days as I instructed. Rather, you gave her the entire dose at once. You are the cause of your daughter's predicament and misfortune, the medicine woman told her. Modupe's mother begged for a remedy, but the medicine woman told her that she had none to give to her and sent her away from her cave. And so, Modupe remained barren until the 2 years given to Prince Adeshola and her elapsed, without them still not able to produce an heir. The throne was vacant for so long after the death of the previous king, with the chiefs and elders presiding over the affairs of the kingdom because they were patiently waiting for Prince Adeshola to produce an heir. But at the end of the 2 years grace given to Prince Adeshola, his younger brother Prince Adedeji was crowned king. However, soon after Prince Adedeji ascended the throne, Oduaje kingdom was struck by a plague of strange sickness. People began to fall sick. They started developing large boils and sores all over their bodies. They also started dying one after the other. Prince Adedeji was also not spared as he too caught the strange illness. When the sickness and death became overwhelming, the elders and chiefs in council sought the help of their chief priest. It was then that the chief priest revealed to them that the plague was as a result of crowning the wrong heir as king. The chiefs and kingmakers were confused, as never in the history of Oduaje kingdom had they crowned a prince without an heir as king. Additionally, this was not the first time a younger prince had been crowned king in the absence of an heir from the elder one. It had happened decades ago in their history without any plague occurring. But without further deliberation and in a desperate bid to stop the plague, the kingmakers asked Prince Adedeji to step down from the throne and they crowned Prince Adeshola as king. Prince Adedeji was not so happy about this, but he could not oppose the kingmakers and the people of Oduaje kingdom. Besides, he feared for his own life too. And so, Prince Adeshola was crowned king despite not having an heir, and his wife Modupe was crowned as queen. Modupe was happy and pleased. She had thought that her dream to be queen of Oduaje would never come true. But here she was, after about almost 15 years of being married into the royal household. She was now queen of Oduaje kingdom. But just when the kingmakers and all of Oduaje thought that their troubles were over after crowning Prince Adeshola as king, the plague returned, and this time it was more severe. Like Prince Adedeji before him, Prince Adeshola also caught the sickness. The kingmakers and elders were left in even greater confusion. I thought the gods said we suffered this plague because we crowned the wrong heir. Why has the plague returned again even after crowning the elder prince? They asked themselves, even more confused. Once again, they ran to their chief priest for consultation. You were not patient enough to hear everything I had to say before you rushed to crown Prince Adeshola, the chief priest told them. He then revealed that neither Prince Adedeji nor Prince Adeshola were the right heir to the throne because they were not the true sons of the former king. The previous queen, now addressed as the queen mother, which is their mother, had tricked her husband by presenting children that were not his. Like Modupe, the former queen, had been unable to conceive. Fearing that she would lose her position as queen, she secretly bought babies from slave traders in a distant village where slaves often gave away unwanted newborns. This meant that neither Prince Adeshola nor Prince Adedeji were the biological sons of the former king. Then, who do we crown as king if the two princes we know cannot rule? The elders and kingmakers asked the chief priest. The chief priest explained that if the former queen had confessed the truth to her husband and he had forgiven her, he would have accepted the princes as his own and blessed them. Then they would have been eligible to sit on the throne. But that the former queen had tried to eliminate the king's real son and his mother when the king confided in her that he had another son by another woman and asked for forgiveness. This was 20 years ago and 2 years before the war with the foreign invaders. The former queen insisted that she would not forgive him unless he sends the child and his mother away from Oduaje, which the king obliged, unknowing to him that she was also not without charge herself. The chief priest, after making some divinations, told the kingmakers where they could find the king's real son and heir. Few of the kingmakers and elders, alongside some few guards, embarked on the journey to look for the real heir to the throne. After some days of searching from village to village, they eventually found him in a small village called Ilu Bawewe, having been able to recognize him with the help of a powerful spiritual bead the chief priest gave to them, and which kept blinking and led them to him. He was quite a young man and was only 20 years old. His name was Folarinwa. Folarinwa was enthroned as king of Oduaje, and immediately he was enthroned, the plague ceased and all who were sick became well. They observed for a year, and everything in the land remained peaceful and more prosperous as it was before the plague. Then the elders and kingmakers told King Folarinwa that it was time for him to take a wife, as it is not in their custom that a king should be on the throne for a long time without a queen. They suggested to him to bring young undefiled maidens from within Oduaje for him to make a choice for a bride. However, King Folarinwa told them that he wants none of the maidens in Oduaje because he was already in love with a maiden who had been his childhood friend and his best friend in Ilu Bawewe village, the village he had grown up in, and that it is that maiden he wishes to marry. He sent for the said maiden and proposed to her. The maiden accepted to be his wife and queen because she had also grown to love him. The maiden was quite very beautiful. She was also quite very young, as she was just 18 years old at this time. Her name was Morenike. She was addressed as Queen Morenike by the whole of Oduaje after King Folarinwa made her his wife and queen. Now, the new queen, Queen Morenike, had a big scar which was so visible on her right leg close to her heel. According to Morenike, her parents had told her that she was born with it at birth. But immediately Modupe saw the scar on the new queen's leg, she knew whom Morenike was, and that Morenike was not born with the scar. She knew instantly that Morenike was the child she had years back. When Morenike had had a baby that day in that isolated hut, the words of the medicine woman at the cave kept ringing in her head. So, when her mother stepped out into the village to get food that afternoon, Modupe picked a knife and cut and imprinted that scar on her baby's right leg close to the heel. She did it because she was scared that the medicine woman might not be able to keep her word of keeping the child away from Oduaje forever. So, she gave the baby the scar so she would be able to identify her if peradventure she shows up in Oduaje kingdom in the future. This car would help me identify her, and I would be able to eliminate her if she poses a threat to me in future also, Modupe said to herself while she gave the baby this car on that day. She had not known that her mother also had her own plan of murdering the baby later that night. Modupe would not have considered Morenike as the baby she had that day, but she knew that it couldn't be a coincidence, as Ilu Bawewe village was the same village her mother had taken her to have a baby. Secondly, the event was exactly 18 years ago, which was the same time she had a baby. And the story of Morenike saying that her parents told her she was born with the scar indicates that she did not die and someone had found her alive with the scar. Yes, truly, Morenike did not die that night because, just as the medicine woman had foretold, she was a special child irrespective of the circumstances of her birth. While Modupe's mother was on her way to dump her in the river that day, a hunter had seen her from a distance. But before he could get close, Modupe's mother had thrown the baby into the river and had quickly hurried off. It was that hunter who rescued baby Morenike from the river, and somehow, miraculously, the baby was breathing. The hunter and his wife didn't have a child of their own at that time, and so they adopted Morenike as their own. It was them who named her Morenike, and she became their first child even when they later had children of their own. Seeing Morenike now, Modupe remembered the words of the medicine woman that a child would replace her as queen in Oduaji. Modupe was too ashamed to open up to Morenike that she was her biological mother. Neither did she tell her own mother of Morenike's true identity, for fear that her mother may try to harm Morenike again out of bitterness. And so, Modupe chose to take the truths of Morenike's birth and identity to her grave. King Folarinwa and Queen Morenike remained on the throne till their old age, and Oduaje kingdom prospered greatly under them. The end. I was inspired to write this story because there are real life issues where some children are conceived and born under unfortunate circumstances, much like Morenike, Prince Adeshola, and his younger brother. Most times, they faced harsh lives and treatments because of the unfortunate ways they were conceived. Morenike's real mother and grandmother had attempted to eliminate her because of her tragic conception. Similarly, Prince Adeshola and his younger brother endured ridicule and shame when they had to step down from the throne, as they were not true royalty but were born to slaves, with their adoptive mother deceiving everyone, including them. While it is sad and it can be difficult to accept these unfortunate circumstances that results to having children or people we do not want around in our lives, I implore us to try to accept them, because truly, even these people in this situation never wish to be brought into the world under such circumstances. I believe that by accepting them and treating them better, we will be contributing in some small way to making our world a better place. I hope you enjoyed the story and that you have learned something from it. You know I would love to know, so please leave your comments. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye.